This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start. So yesterday we have started with local structures. We have seen how to declare the structure, how to access the structure fields, how to create a structure based on existing structure, copying the data between two structures, similar or dissimilar. We understood the difference between move and what? Move corresponding. Any questions? We have the structure purpose. So observe here, what is the purpose of structure is, you'll have the database server where the data is maintained. Database server contains what? Database tables. So assume that I'm having a table at the database level like employee table, which contains some three columns like employee number, employee name and designation. You may have hundreds and lakhs of records. Okay. So based on this data, we need to develop the reports. Okay. Huge amount of data would be there in the database tables. Now I want to develop reports on that particular data so that I can analyze something by looking at that particular report. So what you will do when you execute the report, we have to send the request to the database. We have to fetch the data. We have to read the data from the database. What are the data we retrieve from the database? That retrieved data will come and sit in what? Internal tables, or will come and sit in what? Structure. Yesterday what you have done? We declare the structure. We have assigned the data inside the structure. Na? I have stored some data like 5 Raj and something like that. But generally what we will do, we will fetch the data from what? Database server, and that particular record whichever you are reading from the database, you'll put it inside what? Structure, and then you'll do some processing on that, and then we'll display it. Make clear? So this is the purpose of what? Structure. Understood? Huge amount of data is there in the database server. I need to manipulate a record. Okay, I need to manipulate a record in the table. So what I'll do, I should not do the manipulation directly in the database. What are the record you want to manipulate, you'll retrieve that record to the structure where the structure gets created in your application server. Wherever your program gets executed, there the structure gets created. So that record will store it in the structure. After storing in the structure, we will process that particular data. Okay, we'll do some manipulation, and after that, after doing the manipulation, you may what? Either display that record, or you will update that record back to what? Database. Okay, this is your manipulated data. You may display it on the output screen, or you'll you'll update that record in the database. So manipulated data, what are the processing you've done, that particular data, you'll put it back to the database. Instead of directly doing the operation on the database server, we are retrieving it to our structure. This structure gets created in the application server. Once the data is stored in the structure, I can do some processing on that, I can do some calculation on that, I can do some changes. That manipulated data will update it back to what? Database, or you'll display it to the user in the form of what? Report. So this is the main aim of what? Structures. Any questions from this slide? Type of program is executable program. I'll save it in the local object. Right. So here, here what I'll do is, how to declare a structure, we already know data begin of and end of. So I'll say data begin of. I'll give some structure name like employee. I'll declare the fields. Employee number type I. Employee name of 20 type C. Okay. Now within this structure, before closing this structure, I'll declare another structure. Begin of what? Department. I'll declare some fields here. Department number type I. What else? Department name of something 20. type C. I'll close this inner structure, end of what? Department. Then as part of outer structure, I'll declare another field like employee of designation 25, type what? C. Close the outer structure, end of what? EMP. Okay. So how the memory is allocated here? This is the overall memory allocated. What is the first field here? All the fields are stored one after the other. Employee number, next what? Employee name. So this is your employee number. Assume this is employee name. After employee name, what you are doing? We are trying to declare what? Inner structure department, which has got two fields, department number and department name. So assume this is overall memory allocated for the department structure. Department structure has got what? Two more fields, department number and what? Department name. So assume this is department number. This is a department name, and obviously this is what? Employee designation. Employee designation. Right. So these two inner fields, department number and department name, okay, they are part of what? They are part of department structure. And all these fields are part of what? Employee structure. So this is your employee structure. So nested structure or inner structure means same. Structure within the structure, we call it as what? Nested structure. So here the way we access the fields is important. Suppose I want to store the data and employee number. So I'll say emp hyphen employee number equal to something. emp hyphen employee name. I'll give something. Then department number. I can't say emp hyphen department number equal to 10. This will give an error because department number is a part of department and department is part of what? emp. So when I do syntax check, I'm getting an error in the 15th line. What is the error? emp hyphen department number has no component called as what? Department number. So this is rolled out. So this is giving me what? Syntax error. So how do we access now? emp hyphen department hyphen department number. So this is the way you access. What is the syntax? Outer structure hyphen what? Inner structure hyphen what? The field name hyphen the field name. Okay. Similarly, let me store the data for department name. So here I'll say department name. Then I'll set some data for designation. That's all. Let me try to print it. emp hyphen employee number. Let me print everything in separate line. emp hyphen employee name. emp hyphen department number. What else? emp hyphen department name. emp hyphen what? Employee designation. Employee what? Designation. So save it. Check for the syntax. Done. Execute this. When I say F8, I got the result. So here the output is not important, but how do we access the inner structure fields is outer structure hyphen inner structure hyphen field name. Okay. Now let us go for including structures inside another structure. Including structures inside another structure. So here what you are doing, we are going for what? Nested structure. Declaring a structure inside what? Another structure. That is called as nested structure or structure within the structure. Right. So let us go for including the structures. Including the structure means, as the name itself suggests, including one structure inside what? Another structure. Okay. As of now, I will include only the local structure. Going forward, we will create the structure at the database level. They are called as global structures. Local structure means within a program, if you create anything, that is called as local. I can access that structure only within that program. If you want to access the structure across multiple objects, we have to create it globally at the database level. That is called as database structure. That will come later on. So as of now, I'll go for including the local structure. So including structure inside other structure. Type of program is executable. Yeah. So very simple and straightforward. Nothing much to discuss here. We have to understand the syntax. Begin of EMP, or I'll take department. I'll take some fields in the department structure. Let me take department number type I. I'll take another field department name of 20 type C. End of what? End of what department? Okay. Now I'll declare another structure. Data. What is this? Begin of EMP. Okay. Employee number type I. Employee name of 20 type C. Now in the employee structure also, I want these two fields. I'm including those two fields. I'll take another field here. What is this? Employee designation of something 25 type C. I'll close this. End of what EMP. Okay, so when I do syntax check here, yes, no errors. Am I clear? So I can declare like this. So in the employee structure also, we are declaring department number and department name. Na? So instead of declaring these fields separately like this, once again, they are already part of an existing structure. No? I can include the whole structure at a time. So what is the adjustment I can do now? Instead of doing like this, let me comment. Right, I commented. Instead of doing like this, what I'll do, I will say here, I'll say I want to include here. I'll say include structure. Include structure. What is the existing structure name? Department. Include structure department. Am I clear? So include structure is the beginning of what? A new statement. Include structure is the beginning of new statement. So in ABAP, the previous statement has to be closed. Na? So here I should not give comma here. For this employee name type C, I'll give period so that I can include. Once this is included, here I give period here. End of the statement. Now you have to close the main structure. Na? So here again you start with the data keyword. Data employee designation of 25 type C. Am I clear? So this is the way to include the fields of one structure inside another structure. When I do syntax check, I don't have any error. So make sure that before include, you give the period. After include also, you have to give the period and close the main structure like this. Suppose assume that department structure has got some 10 fields. Out of 10 fields, I want only 9 fields in the employee structure. So at that time, you should not go for include structure. We have to go for include structure only if we are interested to access all the fields of an existing structure. If you want only specific fields, you have to go for declaring those specific fields once again separately like this. Understood? Include structure means you have to go for that when you want to include the whole structure. But sometimes what happens in the projects is because of laziness, as I told you just now, department has got 10 fields. Now in the employee structure, out of 10 fields, I want that 8 fields on the department structure. So instead of declaring those 8 fields one by one, what we'll do, we'll say include structure. So unnecessarily we are including what? The whole structure. We should not do that. If you are interested to access all the fields, then only include the whole structure. Otherwise, declare the required fields manually. Done. And once we include, what happens? The fields of the included structure becomes part of what? Current structure. Becomes part of current structure. Okay, so from the employee, based on the employee structure, I want to access the other fields. How do I access here? I'll say emp hyphen employee number equal to something, emp hyphen employee name. Okay, if I say emp hyphen department number, this is very much valid in case of nested structure. Here we are not nesting, na? We are including, means all the fields of the included structure becomes part of what? Current structure. So when I do syntax check, I am getting an error. EMP has no component called as what? Department. So this is ruled out. This is ruled out. It will give me what? Syntax error. So how do I access here? You will say emp hyphen what? Department number equal to 10, emp hyphen department name equal to what? Something. And what is the other field? Designation. Emp hyphen designation equal to so and so. And when you're printing also same thing, right? I'll just print everything. emp hyphen employee number, emp hyphen employee name, emp hyphen department number. I can access in any sequence, doesn't matter. emp hyphen employee designation. So when I execute, no errors. I got the result. So point you have to focus is how do we include an existing structure? What is the keyword you have to use? Include structure. We have something called as include type. We will talk about that later on. Okay, so include structure. And before include, you have to close the previous statement. After including, close that particular statement. And whenever we include, what happens? All the fields of the included structure becomes part of what? Current structure. I can directly access. So as of now, we're including local structure. Now. Suppose I'll say include structure department 1. So what it will do? SAP will check whether the structure is available locally or not. Is it available in locally? No. It might be available in the database. I don't know. If it is available, it will include from the database. Otherwise, it will give an error. So when I do the syntax check, I am getting an error. The field department 1 is unknown. So what is the meaning? It is neither available locally nor available what? Globally. How do you create the global structure? We'll discuss later on. So as of now, we are including only the local structures. Yes, any questions, please? So no one will tell us when to use include structure. Depending on your requirement, you have to decide. When do we go for include structure? If you want to make use of all the fields of an existing structure, instead of redeclaring those fields once again, I can include the whole structure at a time by using one statement called as include structure. Done? Okay. Right. So this is about the include structure. Now tell me the output of this. Data begin of EMP, employee number type I, employee name of 20, type C, employee designation of 25, type C, end of what? EMP. I'll assign some data. EMP hyphen employee number, then EMP hyphen employee name, then EMP hyphen employee designation equal to something. Done. Okay, this is my data. Now tell me, if I say like this, what is the output I'll get? Or what happens if I say like this? So far, what we have done, we are accessing the individual, we are printing individual structure fields in the right statement. Individual structure fields I am printing. Now, if I do syntax check or if I execute, will I get the output? If so, what is the output I'll get, or else what happens? Anyone? If I say like this, what happens is it will try to concatenate all the structure fields. It will try to combine the data of all the structure fields. It will try to use concatenate internally. Concatenate can be used only on the string arguments, not on the numeric fields. But in my case, one of the field is numeric. Na? Employee number is what type? Integer. So when I do syntax check, I'll get an error. What is the error I'm getting? EMP cannot be converted to a character type value. So if we are using directly the structure name in the right statement, it will try to concatenate. Concatenation is possible only for the structure field. So this is giving me what? What? Syntax error. This is giving the syntax error. Suppose I'll say, let me give the structure name as EMP2, EMP2. Employee number wantedly I'll give it as type C, right? I'll give it as type C, that is character. Now I'll say EMP2 hyphen employee number, EMP2 hyphen employee name, EMP2 hyphen employee designation. Okay, so done. So this is character done. Now I'll say write what? EMP. This should work because all the fields are what type? Character type. So concatenation is possible only for the character field. So when I execute, no errors. What is the result I got? 5 Raj and manager. So you can see here, it is showing the entire thing as one value only because it is going to combine. So what I'm trying to say is, I can use only the structure name in the right statement provided if all the fields of structure are what character only. If all the fields are integer also, we cannot use. It will give error because integers cannot be converted, cannot be concatenated. So only character fields can be concatenated. That's why make sure that all the fields are what character fields. Hope this is clear to everyone. Any questions? Right. So this is so far what is the syntax we are following for creating the structure data begin of and end of syntax. There is another way of declaring the structure, which is a standard way of declaring the structures. Let us see that standard way. So if you are declaring by using data keyword, what is the point we know? Whenever a structure is declared by using data keyword, memory gets allocated for your structure fields. Memory get allocated for the structure fields and they get initialized to what? Default values. Now let us see the standard way of declaring the structures 23, 24. So in the projects, whenever you want to create a structure, the recommended practice, the recommended practice is you analyze the structure fields that you want to declare. Blindly we cannot declare. Okay. As an ABAP and a consultant, we need to decide what fields you want to declare, what names you want to give, what data types you want to give. Based on that analysis, we have to create the template of the structure. How do you create the template of the structure means we have to use types keyword. Instead of using data keyword, what is the change I'm doing? Types keyword. Types. The difference between data and types is if I use data, memory will be allocated. Types will not allocate any memory. It only provides a template. So types I'll say begin of. You can give any name whatever you want, but we are trying to follow some coding standards. Na? Parameter variable we are starting with p underscore. Variables we are starting with v underscore. Constants we are starting with c underscore. Similarly, in most of the projects, the types of structure declaration will start with ty. You can give any name whatever you want. In some project, they may start with t underscore. Okay, I'll go for ty underscore. I'll give the name as emp. Okay, I'll declare some fields inside this. I'll say employee number, type what? I'll take another field, employee name of 20. type C, and I'll declare that's all. End of what? Ty underscore emp. Right? So the difference between data and types keyword is data will allocate memory. Types keyword will not allocate any memory. It only provides a template of the structure. Template of the structure means what are the fields in that structure, what are the data type of the fields. That template will provide. Based on this template only, we can create what? Any number of work areas. Any number of work areas, or we call them as what? Structures. Okay. So as I told you, type structure will not allocate any memory. How do I confirm? Here I'll say ty underscore emp hyphen what? Employee number equal to 5. Ty underscore emp hyphen employee number equal to 5. This is very much valid if you would have declared by using data keyword. It's the same thing. I'll use what? Data keyword. So what happens? Memory will be allocated. They get initialized to what? Default values. So when I do syntax check, I don't have any errors. I replace this data with what? Types. With what? Types. So save it. Check for the syntax error. I am getting an error in the 8th line. What is the error here? The field ty underscore emp hyphen employee number is unknown. It is unknown, it seems. So it is giving me what? Syntax error, because types structure will not allocate any memory, will only provide the template. Once a template is available, based on the template, I can create, based on the template, I can create any number of structures, any number of work areas, we call it as. So this, I call it as what? Template of the structure. Template of the structure means what are the field names, what are the data type of the fields, all those things. So this template doesn't allocate any memory, so I cannot access the data. It is giving me what? Syntax error. So what I'll do now, it is of no use. If I leave it like this, it is of no use. I am unable to store the data. So based on this template, I will create the instances. So how do you create now? Data. I'll give a structure name, or we call it as work area, we call it as a line type, we call it as a row type. I can call it with different terminology. So work area name you have to give. In most of the projects, the work area name will start with WA, WA underscore EMP. Or in some projects, you may start with LS. In some projects, you may start with GS, like this. Okay, data. I'll start with WA underscore EMP1 type what? TY underscore EMP. Now the memory is allocated like that. I can create what? Any number of templates. Sorry, any number of work areas. Based on the same template, I can create any number of work areas. Work area is nothing but structure. Okay, so this I call it as what? Work area. Okay, we call it as line type, or else I can call it as row type, or I call it as simple structure. I can call it with any of the terminology. Okay, so save it, check for syntax. So now onwards for the rest of the course, wherever I want to deal with structure, first what I'll do, I'll visualize my structure fields. Based on that analysis, I'll declare the template of the structure by using types keyword. Once a template is available, I can create what? Any number of what? Work areas, and the rest of the story is same. I'll say here W underscore EMP1 hyphen employee number equal to 5. EMP1 hyphen employee name equal to Raj. I'll try to display data. I'll say data in what? W underscore EMP1 structure. I'll try to print W underscore EMP1 hyphen what? Employee number. W underscore EMP1 hyphen employee name. Okay. So I'm storing some data in employee 1. Okay. In employee 2, I have not stored any data. So for our understanding, data in W underscore EMP2 structure, I don't have any data. I'll get the default values. EMP2 hyphen employee number, EMP2 hyphen employee name. So when I execute, F8. So you can see in the first structure I'm having 5 raj. In the second structure I'm having 0 and what? Space. Default values. And here also same story. I can do the assignment, copy, all those things. I'll say W underscore EMP2 equal to W underscore EMP1. So I'll try to print it. Data and W underscore EMP2 structure after what? Assigning what? W underscore EMP1. So whatever the data is in EMP2 will be copied to what? EMP2 also. So initially I got 0 space. Now I got 5 and Raj. So this is the standard way now onwards we have to follow for creating the structure. First create the template. Based on the template we can create any number of work areas. We are done with local structures concept. We understood how to declare the structures in multiple ways by using data combination or types combination. And we have seen about nested structure, including structures, and how to copy the data between two structures by using move statement, move corresponding. And we have seen the reasons, two reasons why it is recommended not to use move corresponding frequently, because it decreases the performance. How it will decrease the performance? Each row or each field of the source structure will be compared with what? All the fields of target structure for checking the matching field names. This comparison is what? Time consuming process. This will degrade the performance. Second issue is what? It may lead to what? Runtime error. When it may lead to runtime error? If the data types are what? If the field names are same, but data types might not be compatible. So if the field names are same, it will blindly copy that, it will try to copy the data. At the time of copying, if the data types are not compatible, it will give what? Runtime error. Related to the local structures, what is that we have seen? Creating structures, nested structures, including structures, and move and what? Move corresponding. Okay. And when